Hey, it's Al Calhoun with Coveted Consultant. Welcome to video number 3, where we cover how to design a great consulting offer. Where have we come so far in the series? Well, in video number 1, we covered the opportunity. We showed ourselves that there are a lot of small business owners, thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions. We showed ourselves that they buy legitimate services and where to go to put yourself in front of those opportunities. That was video number 1. In video number 2, we covered the expert's error, this fundamental assumption that we make as consultants. We think that we have to explain our services. We think that explaining equals selling. The more that we explain, the better chance we have of closing business. But we showed ourselves in video number 2 that our client, our small business client, is less interested in long explanations. They are busy with very tight schedules and they're looking to solve specific business problems. And so video number 2 showed us that we have to flip our attitude if we're ever going to sell more effectively to our CEO level clients. That puts us here in this video talking about how to create a great consulting offer. Because the truth is, selling isn't just a matter of what you say. The offer itself needs to be easy to understand and easy to buy. So this video covers how to create an offering that will sell itself. Number 1, he cannot buy what he does not understand. Complicated offers require complicated explanations, hustling, in order to sell them. Your job is to come up with an offering that requires the least amount of explanations. Number 2, the longer the conversation, the lower the chance of converting a sale. When you go into hustler mode and you start educating, informing, teaching, and explaining, it extends the conversation. It introduces more confusion. Be a doctor. Listen to their situation. Understand the problem facing them. Confirm what you've heard and offer a solution. Number 3, you will be judged by the outcome you create, not by the knowledge you share. Your offering must deliver a desirable outcome. You can know, teach, explain all you want, but remember your final metric is, did you solve my problem or not? Now, I keep using this term offer over and over again, and for most of us, it just simply means the services that you deliver or the things that you provide. But it's really more dynamic than that. So let's give the term offer a concrete definition right now. An offer is a solution delivered at maximum speed with minimum risk. Let's explain that, shall we? So let's assume that you're traveling. Let's say that you're currently in Los Angeles, California, and you want to travel to New York. Okay? Now, what are your options to get here? Basically, there are 3. You can choose to walk, you can choose to drive, or you can choose to fly. Now, let's measure this against our core criteria. Can you walk from LA to New York? Is that a solution? Yes, you can walk from LA to New York. Is it fast? Not really. It's going to take you weeks, if not months, to make that walk. What's the risk profile? Is it risky? Yeah, there are a lot of things that can happen to you on the road if you were walking by yourself from LA to New York. So this is not the best option, not the best offer. So let's consider the driving option. Can you drive from LA to New York? Can you get there? Is it a solution? Yes, it is. You can drive from LA to New York. Can you get there quickly? Yes, it's definitely faster than walking, but it's still going to take you a couple of days, maybe even a week or so to get from LA to New York if you drove by car. Is it safe? Reasonably, yes. I mean, you're driving in a car, you stop at the right places. Sure, driving is a safe option. So now let's consider the flight option. Can you fly from LA to New York? Does it work? Is it a solution? Yes, it is a solution. Is it fast? Well, it's faster than driving, and it's absolutely faster than walking. This is a matter of hours. You can get from LA to New York. So yes, it is fast. Is it safe? Absolutely. There's all kinds of rules and regulations and structures and people and processes to make sure that the flight option is safe. So where does that leave us? That leaves us with flying being the premium option. It's the best offer, we can get where we want to go with the most amount of speed and the least amount of risk. Now, it always looks easy when it's all spelled out, but we break this. We make bad offers unintentionally. So let me give you an example of a bad offer. Here's bad offer number one. You'll take all of your knowledge, expertise, your wisdom, your experience, and you'll put it inside of a service. So you'll think about all the great things that you've done, and you'll put it all inside this one big bloated service. The thought is to customize it for someone else. The trouble is you have to explain all of this before this person can even halfway understand it, let alone buy anything. And this bloated, complex service forces your explanation and puts you in a hustler's state. That's a bad offer. Here is bad offer number two. Again, well-intentioned, but common mistake. So what you'll do is you'll create this menu of services just in case they need one. So you'll create, they need option 1, option 2, option 43, option 97. And your thinking is you'll give this big menu of choices to your prospective client. But look what you've done. Now you have to explain all of this before they can choose which one makes sense to them. The menu creates complication, creates a need for explanation. Now you got to hustle. That's a bad offer. So what can you do today that will declutter, that will uncomplicate your current suite of offers? Here's what you should do. Create one done for you, project-based offering. I have literally sold thousands of dollars worth of this offering without any of the complexities that we think we need. No crazy automations, no wild funnels, no fancy names. This works because it is 100% solution focused. So let's explain. One done for you project-based offering. How does this lay out? Because when you're talking to a prospective client, right, they're trying to get something done. So you got to lay that out with them, right? You'll go through the big steps needed to get from wherever they are now, right, to wherever they'd like to be, right? You're having that conversation, you figure this out, right? So when you figure this out, there will always be some uncertainties. There will always be some areas of the project that make your client nervous. So somewhere around, 8, 9, 10, as you're talking this through, your client begins to get nervous. And then a couple of things happen. Your client gets nervous because they're thinking about this, but they're worried about that context, those people, those processes, things that got to be hooked up to it. Then you get nervous because you're not quite sure what's going to happen out here. The people, the process, the context. So both parties end up being nervous. Neither party is confident in the project. The bottom of the project falls through. No sale is made. So instead of feeling this uncertainty, getting nervous and leaning out, lean in. Make the offer to your client to resolve these specific things. Tell your client, listen, I know where you are now. I know where you're trying to go. And we kind of charted out a path that we believe will get you there. But we both understand that there's some uncertainty here that needs to be understood. So why don't we start here? Why don't we spend a couple of days figuring out what these things are before we commit the months of doing all of this work? Now that sounds really clever, but let's measure it against our criteria. So a solution, is this a solution? Yes, for you, you now know what you're working on. You're certain of it. Your client understands what you're working on and the value that it has. Understanding this first gets us safety across the entire chain. It's exciting for both parties. Let's talk about maximum speed. Your client doesn't have to wait months now to figure out what may happen down here at 8, 9, and 10. You're making the offer to apply your expertise immediately to those trouble spots. Let's make sure we have what we need. Let's make sure the right people are in place. Let's make sure that the places where this project typically falls apart, they're at least steady state before we commit to the entire thing. They get this insight in days, not in months. Now let's talk about how this thinking lowers the risk. You're showing the client the roadmap up front. Now they know what they're committing to. There's less guesswork. You're also showing the client where it normally falls out, where the bottom normally falls out, and you're offering to protect them from that upfront. Which means for your client, there's no whoops, we didn't know about this, or whoops, it's going to take double the time now, or whoops, it's going to be double the cost because we didn't see this coming. You've lessened all of those fears up front for the client, which makes the buying decision so much easier to make. Every consultant should have some version of this offering inside their business. Why? Because every time you recommend something, the client will always have some concerns or some doubts. And so instead of getting nervous or afraid and leaning out, instead lean in. See what those things are and then offer to address them. Take a few days to review the people, the process, the documentation that may otherwise cause this project to be unsuccessful. After you've done that initial project, then you and the client can sit down again and consider, should we do the big thing now, or what other next step should we take? Now, a service like that is so simple, it's almost too simple. The value of it can go over our heads. So let's talk about some leverage here so you can see the power of it. First of all, it's easy to design. So this service is structured enough where you can systemize it, you can process it. It's also flexible enough where you can tailor it towards the client you're talking to. So it gives you some agility in both ways there. Secondly, it's easy to understand for the client. They know what you're working on, right? You are the expert working on those tough parts of the project. So they know what they're buying. They can buy much quicker. This kind of offering creates insight for other informed offerings. When you're working on what the client cares about most, when you're working on what worries them the most, now you get to see what's most important to them. And you begin to notice, oh, I see, clients need this kind of document, or these kinds of trainings, or this kind of support, or this kind of software. So now you know for sure that your next offering is a valuable one because you were fixing it right in there with the client themselves. Lastly, it allows you to charge the premium. You've identified a very important point for your client. They want it resolved. They want it resolved now. And you're going to raise your hand and say, yes, we can do it. Let's get started. There's value in that. The client will pay the premium for that solution delivered at maximum speed with minimum risk. I was sitting down with the president of an institution, and I did everything I thought I was supposed to do. Why does he do this? Why do CEOs behave this way? Are they on a power trip? Are they just trying to give you a hard time? But for now, let's post in the comments below. Which of these leverage points is most exciting for you? So, hey, Alze, I like this idea of the one done for you project because it will allow me to do this, do that, or do that, or maybe some other point of leverage. But what is it about this idea that you find valuable? Post that in the comments below. I'll be sure to respond to you. See you in the next video.